Hi, I'm Johnny, this is Comics Altruism, and this is part 2 of my huge haul video. What I failed to mention yesterday is the reason that I'm showing this stuff off in 4 separate videos, all kind of leading up to my auction, is that a lot of this stuff that you're going to see will end up being in that auction, or at least some of it. I haven't quite done the specifics on that, but I know that some of it will be showing up. So let's turn the camera around and show you part 2 of that video. So this is one of the few examples of where I will give you what I paid for something. I'm going to expose it because all of the top items in this pile were in the 5 for 20 bin at Heroes Comics here in London, Ontario. And as you can see, and I looked through this book, it's an easy, what did I say? I think it was like a 9.0 that I graded this at. It might have been an 8.5, but either way, for $4, you can't go wrong, especially $4 Canadian. Remember, everybody, that it's about 30% more. Like, our dollar is worth less than yours. So, anyway, point is, 2001: A Space Odyssey #1 for $4. Like, come on. I gave this one a little press because it had a crunch, so it made perfect sense that it would be in that in the semi-cheap bin. So, there's that. The hologram there is still in perfect condition, not too faded. Not faded at all, really. Then I had to pick this up, regardless of the spine dents, only because you would think, being the value that it is, that it would be a really easy book to find, but it's not. So, yeah, I had to pick that up in that bin. This is over the course of 3 weeks, by the way, that I picked these up. Captain Planet #1, again, surprisingly hard to find, and so I just grabbed it as an impulse buy. Godzilla King of the Monsters #1, also in very solid shape. Couldn't believe that was in the $4 bin. I think they might have made a mistake, but you know, I spent so much money at that place, or I have over the years, that I'm okay with grabbing that. And this, it's got a couple spine ticks, and it's not the Error edition. I checked. This one came from an LCS here in London, Ontario that I had never been to. They mostly deal in high-end, like very high-end. I got a chance for the first time ever, and probably the last time, to hold Werewolf by Night #33, the second appearance of Moon Knight. He had it priced at like $600, but he brought it out just for me so that I could take a look, because I was saying I was looking for Marvel Spotlight number, 32? And 33, the first 2 solo appearances of Moon Knight. So he just brought that out for me to take a look. He took a list of everything higher end that I'm looking for, and he says, like, obviously no obligation because some of the prices might be out of my price range. This one is also from the 5 for 20 bin at Heroes, Special Edition New Mutants #1, Power Pack #1. This one was just kind of a throw-in. I needed to make the 5 because it's $5 a piece, or 5 for 20, so this one was my free book from that lot. Also got the Teardrop Error variant of Green Lantern New 52. I think they didn't notice that it was the Error, or they didn't know, because it's kind of obscure. All this stuff came from an antique mall here in London on Bridges Street, and it took me a while to go through everything, because there are comic books in a bunch of different vendors within that antique mall. So, this is a PSA book, the New Teen Titans, basically versus drugs. It's Reagan-era propaganda, anti-drug, which I'm all for that, by the way. But they've got 2 of those. The only thing I'm not into, though, is putting cocaine and marijuana in the same sentence. Like, let's be real here, folks. Clearly, Reagan and his wife had never done marijuana, because they are not comparable. And marijuana doesn't tend to destroy lives like cocaine and crack and heroin do. Yeah, first appearance of Tigra here, Wonder Woman #9. I ended up paying $4 for that. That was from a different vendor where they had everything was priced out. These, however, from the same vendor, were in the cheap bins, and I couldn't believe it when I saw it, because in their expensive bins they had some copies of this in the same condition. So I'm wondering why they had these in their cheap bins, but they were very clearly there on purpose, just based on where they were placed in the boxes. So I got A cover, B cover. This is the first appearance of Alien vs. Predator. I got actually 2 of these from like one of the B cover and one of issue number 35 from Chad RCG as a prize from his comment on Friday's videos, and he sends you stuff if you win. So that's 2 copies and 3 copies of cover A, 2 copies of cover B. Pretty wicked for the price I spent. Now this is going to appear to go against my feminist philosophy, because I'm sure that anybody who's watched the majority of my videos would know that I spout feminist rhetoric fairly often, but that's based on intent. So this is where the ambiguity of Johnny's philosophy gets a little strange, because the intent that I object against with, or that I object to within the comic book industry and objectification of the female form, is that if it's geared toward children, we're sending the wrong message to them about what to expect as boys looking at women, or as women looking at their eventual selves, if that makes any sense. However, the intent with Lady Death and Vampirella is very much for grown-ups, and actually the aesthetic of Vampirella does appeal to me, simply because it's kind of metal, and she is totally badass and empowered. So even though she is very scantily clad and buxom and all that stuff, I don't really consider it to be what I protest against. And if Metarog, if you're watching this, that discussion that we had about Ms. Marvel #1 doesn't really apply to this, because like I say, what they were aiming to do was empower little girls with Ms. Marvel #1 and subsequent Ms. Marvel, and that obviously is where certain kinds of modesty need to be taken into effect, or taken into account. Either way, done ranting about that. I got a ton of Vampirella books in the cheap bins at that antique mall. The artwork in this is phenomenal. I would take it out, but you know, they'll be going up for sale if you want to check out the art for yourselves. Just ask, and I will put them in this upcoming auction March 5th. These are pretty sweet, because obviously I would never be able to actually buy the original Vampirella #2, #3, #5. So now I have those. And then Vampirella Strikes #1. It's just random, like I picked up every Vampirella book that I found there because they were so cheap. Alright, thanks for watching. Sorry for going on that rant. Alright, bye.